Good morning, Krusty Crew. How's it going, everyone? See, we're all filing in. So, figured I'd take some time to not only move my microphone a bit closer, but let's just let's catch up for a bit. It's been like 2 weeks or so since the last time I got to stream a tier list. At least it feels like it's been 2 weeks. It might not have been, but I'm pretty sure it has been. Uh, so lots happened. Um, Last time we did this, I basically completely destroyed my vocal cords and got really sick, which is why, despite wanting to do like 3 streams of this a week, I ended up doing one and then just going on break for like 2 weeks. Because not only did I have to recover, but when I did actually want to do the stream again, I got pulled away from home and had to you know, spend some quality time out of the house, which is, great for me, but not very great for the content. Yeah, we're back. We've got another daunting list to go over today. Actually, hold on, I had a tab open. Let me see if I can open it without like messing up the stream here. Okay, there we go. So I need to pull up the wiki again because I'm not going to remember what all of these add-ons do. All right, so wait, we got Huntress. Yeah, actually, let me just close Discord. That doesn't seem that necessary. Get that out of the way. Why is Huntress not allowed? Which killer are we on? We are on, yeah, Huntress. Because last time we managed to get up to Bubba, which was quite daunting. So I probably won't do as many killers this time, just to make sure that I can actually get through the whole list. And this time I'm actually only like half as prepared. I only have a drink. I don't have like tea, nothing. So yeah, I thought maybe I should like go over some of these add-ons a bit because I was kind of looking over it after I got through the whole tier list last time. And there was some placements I thought maybe could go a little higher, maybe a little lower. And I'm starting to think maybe like Pocket Watch on Nurse is not in the same tier as Jenner's Last Breath. Or no, this is the undetectable one. I think the undetectable one's probably better than Low Pro. And Heavy Panting, and this one's probably not as high. Undertale the musical, I got you. Let's go Undertale the musical. 2 Undertale the musicals. Wow, daring today, aren't we? Add that to the queue twice. Ah, boom. And that was kind of the main two things that I was taking away from the tier list last time. Just those like nurse add-ons maybe seemed a little wrong to be in the same tier. But like the rest of these, I got no clue. Like a lot of them seem really bad, but it's really hard to make a judgment on a lot of them. Yeah, Huntress, a lot of hers are pretty cut and dry. There's not really going to be much like minutia to go over with all of them. They're pretty much just like a stat buff or like a status effect. And on those merits, I think they'll be pretty easy to rank. So let's just get straight into it. Why not? Hopefully there won't be any like technical issues. Alrighty. Add-ons for hunting hatchets. Alright. First one up is Horse Stone. This add-on I have never used in my entire life, even before it got reworked into what it is now. Uh, but this one makes it so survivors you hit with a hatchet will have 50% louder grunts of pain. And I think just on that alone, you can already tell like this add-on is not going to get a high ranking. Like, what is that even supposed to do? The problem with add-ons like this that make survivors breathe louder is it doesn't necessarily mean you hear them from further away. They just are louder, like in terms of volume. And that isn't really always great. A lot of times, if you're used to like, you know, the regular sounds that survivors make, they're gonna sound a lot closer to you than they actually are, and that's not helpful at all. Like if this add-on increased the range by a bit, maybe I could see it being more useful, but the way it is now is basically just a volume slider that takes up an inventory slot and like costs blood points. So I don't really see a reason why you should ever even consider using this. So I'm just gonna put it like really low F tier. Doing it if gaming you need to lock in. No worries, Zane. Just happy to see you. Next one I believe is yellowed cloth. This add-on makes the hatchets fly 10% faster. Basically, I don't know. This is one of her add-ons that she just got added because she did not have like enough add-on slots before. The standard is 20, and before I think she only had like 12. So this is one of the ones they came up with, and I gotta say, it's definitely one of the better ones because a lot of Huntress's add-ons are really focused on making like non-wound up hatchets more deadly, and I think this one is one of the better ones for that. It's definitely like a muscle memory ruiner. I would not switch between this add-on and not this add-on for extended periods of time. I would just choose to stick with it or not. But if this is one of the add-ons you want to stick with, I would say it's definitely like up there. I'd say it's probably like low B in terms of just like it makes your non-wound up hatchets so much more lethal, and then it makes the wound up hatchets equally as like more lethal. And the same goes for the duplicate variation, which I think is Rose Root. This is quite literally the same add-on, except instead of 10%, it is 20%. So that's just like twice of a better add-on. And I think just because of how much more that actually is, I thought it was only going to be like 15. I think I'll probably have this take that slot and then bump this down to maybe like high C, which doesn't seem like that big of a difference right now, but when we move more add-ons like in between these two, it'll start to look a little more significant. But yeah, Rose Root, really strong, non-wound up hatchets, basically just might as well be full speed, like fully charged hatchets. And that's pretty significant, especially when you combine it with some of her other add-ons. Uh, Next up we have, how do you pronounce this? Amanita Toxin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, probably not. But this add-on applies blindness for 60 seconds to survivors hit by a hatchet. And I really don't know why they insist on making add-ons like this and just keeping them the same way, like that they've always have been. Because blindness just, doesn't really do anything. In Swift, of course. But in solo queue, blindness just like kind of destroys and unravels teams really quickly. Because that survivor that you hit with a hatchet and down isn't going to see their teammates. And if you're snowballing and hitting like multiple people and getting downs, then those teammates aren't going to see that survivor on the floor on the hook either, which is just flat out not fun. So I can't really rate it highly because it is just kind of countered by like Discord, but yeah, or just playing well enough to where like a Huntress isn't really going to be snowballing. I'm probably just gonna put it in F tier somewhere, probably above probably above the Springs, I would say. Something around that seems reasonable. And then, of course, last of the common add-ons is going to be Bandaged Haft, which is quite impressive for its low rarity. This one decreases the cooldown after a hatchet throw by 10%. The base kit is 2 seconds. The cooldown is 2 seconds by default, so this reduces it by zero point 0.4 seconds. Or not zero point 0.4, 0.2, my bad. Thinking a little ahead here. And I would say this is probably like up there with the Rose Root in terms of like power level. It's incredibly strong to be able to just throw more hatchets, especially in situations where you're camping or there's multiple people that are around. So I would pretty much always take at least one cooldown add-on into every game if you're not bringing a throwing speed add-on. And if you want to take a cooldown speed add-on, then you would be strongly urged to bring the Oak Haft instead, which has the same effect, but the percentage is 20% instead of 10. So much like Rose Root, I'm just going to increase it by a lot. Now, despite being basically double the strength of the other add-on, I don't really think they're that far apart in strength, because even with just Bandaged Haft, your cooldown becomes short enough to hit so many like extra like M1s that you otherwise wouldn't, or just hatchets that you otherwise wouldn't. Uh, because already 2 seconds is pretty fast of a cooldown and pretty spammable. So decreasing that by the numbers that you can is already pretty impressive. So I'm not really gonna overrate half too highly, but it is significantly stronger. And it allows you to spam much more, especially in situations like where you're out the hook and you're not really going to want to charge your hatchets in the first place. You're probably just going to want to spam them when you're up close. And then next up is Mana Grass Braid, which decreases your time to wind up hatchets by 8%. And this, alongside Babushka, are almost certainly like her best add-ons. Like, if not the halves. I would say Monograss is they're basically the same add-on. Like, don't really be deluded into thinking they're any different. Monograss is 8% and Babushka is 10%. So like they're basically exactly the same. So they might as well just be put in the same spot, because even if you don't have babushkas, which are technically better, Monograss Braid will serve you pretty much just as well for the same purpose. I don't really see a reason to differentiate them that much. Um, yeah, just being able to wind up your hatchets and throw them faster is really good, especially because the windup is already pretty reasonable at 0.9 seconds. This can decrease them to like almost like Demogorgon shred levels. Like it's a little over half a second if you have both of them, and that's incredibly spammable. So yeah, I mean, you should always be locking at least one windup add-on, no matter what build you have, and then a choice of either half or throwing speed, projectile speed. Uh, and there really isn't that much reason to run anything else, which is already not a great sign for the rest of these add-ons. Um, Speaking of, next up is Weighted Head, an add-on that was also added with the intent of giving Huntress more add-on slots. And this one kind of came at a bad time because it was right after they introduced the incapacitated status effect. So this add-on, they kind of just threw shit at the wall and tried to see what stuck, and this one definitely did not stick. This one makes it so survivors hit by hatchets become incapacitated for 10 seconds. And I think we can all tell this basically doesn't do like anything at all. Like it doesn't even have the like suggestion of doing anything. So like it's just kind of a dead out on slot. It doesn't make you like worse for running it, so I probably won't put it in super F. But it's one of the worst add-ons like you can use. It literally quite doesn't. It just doesn't do anything. So I don't see a reason why you would equip it unless you wanted to like prevent survivors from using items for like 5 seconds. Hi, Feedy. Welcome in. Asumi. Um, Next up is a pair of really sad add-ons, which I'll just actually move right next to each other. Uh, this is Leather Loop and Infantry Belt, which, based on the name, you might think give you some sort of like extra ammo to run around with. Um, but unfortunately, some really poorly thought out buffs mean these add-ons don't actually do anything related to their effect. Instead, Leather Loop gives you 2% haste when you hit a hatchet for 5 seconds, and Inventory Belt dares to give you 3% haste after hitting a hatchet for 5 seconds. And, you know, already those are absurd premises for add-ons because I don't really think anyone's like begging for the haste effect when playing Huntress. But these literally don't do anything. Um, I like the effects are so small that I don't think they're going to really help you close any gaps, and they last for so little time that by the time you finish recovering from your first hatchet throw, they're already basically completely gone. Uh, so yeah, I would just genuinely put these in like really low F. They actually just don't do anything. It's quite sad that they used to actually be good because they give you more ammo, and now they literally are never worth running. Yeah, like it's the same thing with the clown add-on, right? Like they used to be ammo add-ons and now they're haste add-ons, and I don't really know what the correlation is there, but I guess it's just something I have to live with. Um, but speaking of movement speed add-ons, next up is Shiny Pin. This add-on makes it so when you're winding up a hatchet throw, you how do I say this? You move 5% faster, which is quite a bold effect, which has never been done before on any killer ever. At least up to the point Huntress released. Um, and the sound's pretty good. It's kind of a small effect. Like I don't think you can really tell the difference between this add-on and not just by like looking at the it from a survivor's perspective. But over the course of a game, you'll definitely feel it. Um, like I wouldn't put it very high. I'd probably put it around like 4C tier. Uh, but I mean, it's okay for what it is. I mean, it kind of buffs the most boring playstyle that Huntress has, which is just holding hatchet and like threatening survivor from a long distance so that they can't get out of cover. But I don't know. I don't see that strong of a reason to use it. Might be crazy, but I think I heard the doorbell. Um, Next up is Venomous Concoction, which gives you the exhausted status effect when you're hit by a hatchet for 5 entire seconds. And normally I would say this add-on is pretty solid, but we live in a society where Vigil is allowed to decrease your status effects of you and your nearby teammates by 40%, and that's within a 16-meter range of every survivor. And it also lasts like 10 seconds, so this add-on is basically never going to do anything. Like, even if you happen to hit someone with a hatchet, they might have already used their exhaustion perks, such as Sprint Burst, or Dramaturgy, or, Live. Like, and if they have Overcome, I'm pretty sure Overcome just activates first, and the add-on literally doesn't do anything. And if you put a survivor into the dying state, it still doesn't do anything because they're in the dying state. They don't have any exhaustion perks that they can use, not yet, at least. So I literally just don't see a world where you'd want to use this add-on right now. It's quite miserable to even try to get value out of. I would probably just put it like high D. Like it's still more useful than all these other killers add-ons because these killers just are bad and worse than Huntress, but it's just really not even worth the add-on slot. Um, Next up is an offensively named add-on called Deerskin Gloves, which pretty sensitive topic for me personally. Um, this add-on decreases your reload time at lockers by 20%, which isn't really like super good. especially because, you could probably just run Iron Maiden if that's what you care about and get like more than double this effect. But if you don't really have like that much else or you don't desire to run anything else, I would say this is pretty solid. Like you don't have ammo add-ons anymore, so having an add-on that lets you retrieve ammo faster is actually pretty nice. I'd probably put that IC just because, it's just nice. It's quality of life, reducing time spent. And also like high key lets you reload in chase because of just like how fast it kind of is. I run a similar add-on on Trickster, Melodious Murder, which basically has the exact same effect but just slightly better. And it actually is fast enough to where you can just kind of reload and chase, and the survivor gets barely any distance. So that's pretty nice. But honestly, it's not as great on Huntress because her windup is a lot slower, so you're not going to have the snappiness that Trickster does. And I'm seeing in the chat, Vic is asking why Rusty Shackles is in D tier. Simple answer: Hag is a terrible killer, so the add-on barely does anything. Like in the situations where a survivor accidentally steps on a trap, they're just going to get hit anyway. And in a situation where the survivor wipes away the trap, the add-on doesn't do jack shit. So I don't really see what the point of this add-on is, other than like giving people heart attacks and like sending them to the hospital, which is just kind of rude. Uh, yeah, it basically just it doesn't improve your stats in any meaningful way. It just kind of amplifies the scare factor of the killer a bit, and that's really negligible because the killer is just bad. Like I would rather just run like the shoe and become like Super Evan or Mint Rag to just have the power, than run Rusty Shackles, which isn't really great. Um, I don't know. I don't remember the name of this add-on. I'm pretty sure it's Rusty Head. Let me double check because it could honestly go either way. Okay, yeah, this is Rusty Head. This one applies the mangled status effect to survivors hit by hatchets for 70 seconds. And this is going to go into the mangled add-on tier, down in like D and F, because the mangled effect is just simply not good, especially not by itself. Uh, Problem with mangled, which I've reiterated probably a few times by now, is just that healing speeds are too fast right now, and this being on a limited timer now compared to before where it was infinite means that it has a chance to just literally do nothing, especially if you hook the survivor that's going to like eat through most of the timer by the time they even get rescued. So, already not great. And then there's a Begrimed Head, the purple variation, which is quite literally the same. Uh, Slightly longer duration at 80 seconds and also applies hemorrhage. Um, but I'm still not enthused. Like, I'm not really jumping for joy when I see this add-on in my blood web. I would almost never equip this. Uh, I just don't think like if I want anti-heal, I don't think I'm gonna use this add-on to try and supplement it. It's just not good. It's not good enough to warrant use. Alrighty. Next up is Wooden Fox, which is a surprisingly good add-on. Uh, this one makes it so after reloading, you become undetectable for a certain amount of time. Uh, okay, good thing I double checked because it's actually 30 seconds. I was under the impression it was 20. Hi, Mac. Welcome in. Um, and this is pretty significant for Huntress because she already has a pretty like vague approach with her lullaby. But once you hear the tear radius, you pretty much know like she's close enough to where she's a threat. And with this add-on, you can actually just kind of completely remove that range and make survivors have a much harder time like knowing where you are, especially because you can just throw a single hatchet and reload. You don't have to actually invest time into like using all of them. And you still get the same amount no matter how many hatchets you reload. So I don't know. It's like it's a kind of high level add-on because I think it's only gonna mess with certain like groups of players that really know how to use the heartbeat to their advantage. And for the rest, like, you know, they're kind of just gonna get stomped by Huntress anyway, but this add-on is still going to help. So probably put this like somewhere around the rest of her like good add-ons in B. Because it's actually pretty solid. Like I would say if you don't want to use a stat buff add-on, this one is probably up there. Probably a favorite of many Huntress player. I see it's pretty common in like public games. Uh Next up and final of the purples is glowing concoction, which reveals survivors hit by hatchets for 5 seconds. Reveals their aura, I should clarify. Uh this one's kind of a throwback. And also like up there is like top one like weirdest add-ons in the game, like in terms of lore. Like they don't even try to like give a reason for why Huntress has this. It's just like, yeah, if you rub this on the like head of the hatchet, weird shit happens, which is, really inspired and like really great storytelling, I'd imagine. Um but yeah, I don't really know why you would need this in most games. Like the aura reading is good, but if you hit a survivor, you roughly know where they are anyway. It's just kind of nice to be able to line up another shot potentially, but realistically, they're just going to get behind cover after the first hit, or they're already going to be behind cover before the first hit. So their aura being revealed isn't really going to do anything. Um, so I'd put this probably like mid C, shiny pin tier. Oh, something's going on with my chat. Okay, I guess it just refreshed on Twitch's side. I got scared. Um, Next up is two very sad add-ons. Soldier's Putty is the first of her viscerals. And this add-on increases your movement speed to 4.6 after reloading. Or no, not after reloading. Pardon. It increases your movement speed to 4.6 when you are out of hatchets, which is a situation as the Huntress killer that you do not want to be in. Believe it or not, being out of hatchets is really bad. So an add-on that buffs you during that time seems like an absurd premise, and I don't know why you would want to prep for that. Especially as a killer who has 7 hatchets, which is like, enough to almost wipe a team using all of them. So it's just a really confusing design until you read her other visceral add-on, which caps you at 1 hatchet, but that 1 hatchet will insta down any survivor it hits, aside from those whom have endurance, of course. So the obvious idea here is, right, use this add-on and this add-on together. This add-on makes it so you have an insta down, and this add-on makes it so whenever you use that hatchet, you're faster. Problem is, Iridescent Head sucks, and that means Soldier's Putty also sucks. So I don't really understand why this has to be an add-on, let alone, one of her highest rarity add-ons. I honestly think this add-on is actually like super F tier because you're basically prepping for failure. And this like Iridescent Head, I would honestly say it's just like regular old F tier. Like it's really stupid. It has situations where it's really like unbearably stupid, but those are situations where Huntress doesn't really need help. So I don't know. I'm not enthused by the idea. I think the add-on is almost never worth like actually using. The only people using Iridescent Head are like throwing for a meme. Like it's genuinely just a terrible add-on. You either run Iridescent Head with this and just like lose the game, or you run it with Wooden Fox and maybe like troll about like a lot. But like once you're found out, it's not really going to work that well. Uh, Used to be so dumb when you can carry multiple insta hatchets. Yeah, and like you also had like an Ebony Mori, so that like once you hooked someone a single time, you could just insta down them off hook, or like hit the person who unhooked you and insta kill them, and then also hit the person off hook and insta kill them, and then they were just dead and out of the game. That was a lot of fun. Genuinely, back when there was like no DC penalty like in existence, and Ebony Mories were a thing, and Older Your Head was a thing all at once. By the way, um, Huntress was just an instant DC for me. Like she's still kind of bordering on that, like in the modern day, but like genuinely back when like almost every Huntress was just running like Eerie Head infantry belt and an Ebony Mori. Yeah, she was not worth the effort of playing against. It was so boring. um, okay. Next up is a killer I really don't have like too much experience in, but I'm gonna try my best, and we're gonna not make any harsh judgments because next killer up is Freddy Krueger, the Nightmare, and we're gonna flip him over to face the tier list the right way. And the thing I struggle with on Freddy is a lot of his add-ons were pretty much just reworked like within the last year. Some of them even multiple times, and I'm kind of a little like confused on what a lot of them do, and I haven't gotten around to running all of them. But from friends who play the killer a lot, and content creators enjoying the killer more than I do, and giving their 2 cents on the killer, I think I can create like a rough idea of what exactly is good and what's not on the killer. TS devs PMO SM ICL. What happened this time? Is there any more bad news? I just got the news that Streetwise doesn't meet the criteria for a kill switch, so I don't know how much worse it could get. Like I don't think my heart could take it if there's even more bad news. Out with it, Piri. What happened? Community manager on Discord said there's other things to warrant a kill switch more than Streetwise. Yeah. What other things are like that warrant a kill switch right now? Like, what are they gonna kill switch Clown because they accidentally made him OP? Because I mean, last time they made a killer have basically permanent 15% haste, they were really quick to kill switch that. So I don't know. Ooh, actually, that does remind me. I should pull up my stream manager. Speaking of community managers, let me get that up real quick. Alright, boom. Now I can manage ads and stuff. Okay. So the difficult thing here with Freddy is mainly going to be trying to figure out how useful his add-ons can really be. And I don't think that's going to be too hard because I kind of already have a rough idea of what's his best and worst add-ons. Uh, it's just going to be like kind of remembering what all of them do and what context all of them are useful in, which is going to be a lot because Freddy is one of the more like complicated killers, and so it's going to be like, and a lot of his add-ons only cover like one thing, so that's what's going to be difficult to kind of sort through. They didn't say warn a kill switch, but they said there's worse bugs out there. Technically true, but also a bit of a cop out. I'll give it an A for effort. Yeah, honestly, I'm down for just removing Stranger Things again. People are asking for Stranger Things Part 2. I'm asking for Stranger Things being removed from the game Part 2. Personally, maybe that's an unpopular take. Yeah, now that that is out of the way, I'm gonna try and actually get through the add-ons. Um, First of which is Wool Shirt, which decreases the detonation delay of rupturing dream palettes by 10%. And unless there's another add-on that does the exact same thing but stronger, I would say this is already up there as like one of his like really good add-ons. Like probably like super high B, just because it makes dream palettes a lot more threatening. And they're already quite a threat by default. Like just because you have to be careful not to get like, an instant like injury that doesn't slow the killer down at all. Um but yeah, this add-on just makes them rupture even faster. They're harder to react to, harder to like escape from if you're already within the range. Uh and there's another add-on that goes really well with it that we'll probably get to later, and that's going to be around the same spot. Um but next up is oh my god, these are so hard to tell apart. Kids drawing, which increases the amount of micro sleep gained from the dream abilities by 10%, which basically means like whenever you hit a survivor with a snare or like a teleport, they're going to fall asleep a little faster. And this is very obviously like low rarity add-on bait. Like we're designing add-ons based on like the rarity we like assign them to. So it has to be like really bad. Uh, which already we can tell isn't really applied. It's not a standard that's applied evenly because we just like super highly rated one of the other common add-ons, but yeah, this one is terrible. I don't really see a reason why you would ever want to get like 10% more sleep gained from like I don't know, like I'm kind of just rambling at this point, but yeah, it's bad. It's really like low F tier probably. It's just not enough of a boost to like even be able to notice, especially with how hard putting people to sleep can already be as this killer. I just don't see the use. Hi Riz, welcome in. We got more tier listing, and hopefully not like rupturing of vocal cords. Now, next up is Garden Rake, which is a strange add-on. It's probably one of the weirdest add-ons I've ever seen. This increases the hitbox of the dream snares by 10%, which really doesn't sound like a lot because they're kind of small little projectiles, but this basically just makes it like harder to miss, which is impressive because they're already not very hard to like hit survivors with. Um, and that alone makes it like already better than the last add-on that we covered, but not really by much. I mean, being able to hit your dream snares more is good, but like I would honestly rather just like improve my aim like that little bit to just be able to make up for the 10% that this add-on would otherwise provide me. So I'm gonna go like low D, like mid to low D for poor old garden rake. But not offensive. You could run this and get like consistent value out of it, or you could just get good. To each their own, honestly. Um, and the final common add-on is sheep block, which increases the cooldown time of alarm clocks by 10%. And I believe 10% in this context means an extra 4.5 seconds. Because I believe the base cooldown after using each alarm clock is 45 seconds. I could be wrong. It could be 30. But either way, it's not looking too great for this add-on. It's like not that much of an increase to a stat that kind of doesn't really matter because there's plenty of alarm clocks to go to. Um, so I'm probably gonna put this around the same area as the kids drawing. It's like if I want to slow down, putting people to sleep or keep people asleep longer, that I'm not gonna use this add-on. I'm just gonna use something else, uh, such as there's an add-on I'm thinking of here. Nancy's Sketch is the one I'm thinking of. This one I think is probably one of his best, just off the bat. Um, this add-on crucially decreases the duration of sleep immunity by 20%. And sleep immunity is the unique timer you get when you wake up at an alarm clock instead of just missing a skill check or getting woken up by a teammate. And this is a big one because that sleep immunity protects you from getting put to sleep at all by basic attacks, snares, teleports, and dream pallets. So this means that that period after using an alarm clock, you're completely invincible to dream pallets. You can just go around destroying them. You're immune to dream snares. You can get hit by them, and all it does is put them on cooldown. Even basic attacks, like if he hits you off hook, well, you're not gonna be getting woken up at an alarm clock after you get off hook, but just even in that situation where you get hit by a basic attack, it's not gonna put you back to sleep, so you're still gonna be immune to all of his traps for the full duration of sleep immunity. And decreasing that by 20% is pretty big. That's like already so much better than these two pieces of shit because it's just a bigger number. But also it's just a more important stat to be decreasing because that sleep immunity can do a lot of damage to you because you really don't have an answer to it, and it just forces you to play as an M1, which isn't why I play most killers. So I'm gonna put this pretty high. I'm gonna put this probably around the same tier as what do you call it? Like Windstorm Pocket Watch tier. Get going to bed, but I'll move stream over to my laptop to snooze to. Alrighty, thank you Zane for the lurk. Appreciate you. Um, yeah, like the whole thing is like that sleep immunity does so much for survivors, and this is crucially the only add-on that decreases it, and that means you basically have more uptime as Freddy Krueger and not just like Sharpan Joe. Little throwback reference for the old heads. Um, and I would say that's always worth taking, basically. No matter how you want to play Freddy, I would say that's worth taking, like pretty much always. Anyone get you $D. It's basically free if you don't think about the cost of entry. Um, Next up is Prototype Claw, which decreases the charge time of Dream Snares by 10%. Um, Probably like the most like add-on bait add-on I've ever seen. Like this makes it seem like there's an add-on that you're using, but it's like the most pointless stat to ever increase with an add-on, like aside from Blink. I genuinely don't know why you would ever use this. The wind up time of the Dream Snare is not something that's like impeding anyone's gameplay. It's 0.35 seconds, like it's already basically instantaneous. So I'm gonna put this probably like really low F. I genuinely don't see a point. Like it technically isn't like hurting you for using, but it kind of is hurting you for using it, right? Because you're just wasting an add-on slot. Like that one isn't like you're basically spending money for no reason. Like you're just might as well throw your blood points into a blender and then like water your plants with them. Like that would actually be more productive than purchasing a prototype claw. So yeah, low F tier, not useful, not great, not at all nice. Uh, Next add-on, Cat Block, reduces the cooldown of Dream Protection, or not Dream Protection, Dream Projection by 10%. Uh, not bad for its rarity, to be honest. I mean, Dream Protection is like, God, that one's hard to pronounce. Dream Projection is a pretty important ability for Freddy because being able to have mobility is pretty much always, a net positive, especially to any generator on the map and any person healing on the map in the Dream World. Um, but I don't know. I feel like Dream Projection is already going to be like up for most of the game to the point where you don't really need an add-on to have it faster. But like, if that's kind of what you want to lean into, man, I mean, you do you. I mean, I don't really see a reason why you shouldn't use this add-on, but I'm gonna put it up there with like, you know, Venomous Concoction. I mean, what do you think about it? Venomous Concoction and Freddy's Dream Snares are kind of both like equally screwed over by Vigil. So, if you think about it, they're kind of the same add-on, you know? Um, okay. It's kind of really hard to switch between everything. I have to like open to do all this right now, but I'm trying my best. Next add-on is Outdoor Rope, which increases the travel speed of Dream Snares by 15%. Uh, Dream Snares, I believe, move at 12 meters a second over a max range of 18 meters, which means they take a second and a half to get to their like, you know, peak travel distance, and this makes that the tiniest bit faster, which I'm sure someone out there can appreciate. I think this is basically just going to be like the same thing as the Dream Snare Hitbox add-on, but just different in the sense that it makes the add-on, it makes the snare easier to hit. But like in a kind of backwards way, uh, it also can sometimes make the snares harder to hit than normal because with how fast they can go with this add-on, they might just fly past someone before they even walk into it, which isn't great. But I don't know, just kind of a weird muscle memory add-on. I think it's probably about the same though as the size add-on, so I'll just put it like around the same area. Um, just to round off the greens, last one is quite literally named Green Dress, which is perfectly complemented by the rarity color that it's attached to. So good on the devs for finally addressing that after all these years. This add-on makes it take 2 seconds longer for survivors to wake each other up if they're not in the dream world. Uh, the base kit time is 5 seconds, and this add-on makes it 7, which can be some good slowdown if survivors opt to wake up that way. But I don't really think there's much reason to use this because there's so many other better ways to wake up. Like mostly survivors, who are more coordinated, they're just going to be cycling between the alarm clocks and not waking each other up with this action that often, unless they're like unhooking and need to heal. Uh, so yeah, I mean, pretty solid up there with maybe this cat block, but not great. Now we do have an ad coming up in the next 5 seconds, so I'm gonna take a brief sabbatical as it plays, and I will be right back. Hopefully there will be no other interruptions. Howdy, chat. Welcome back. We're also back. I took the ad break as an excuse to rest my voice a little bit because I know how bad it can really get doing something like this. Oh my god. Hi Aya. Welcome in. Thank you for the tier 1 subscription. Thank you. Thank Appreciate you for the 4 months. Uh yeah. Hello Lorcan. We're on Freddy. I think we just got to the last of his green add-ons, and now we're up to the blues, which is quite nice. I feel like we've been making some good progress. I mean, we already got all the way through Huntress and like halfway through with second killer, only an hour in. This is going by a lot quicker than the first one. Um, Now let me check what this add-on does. Okay, right. This is the one I was talking about earlier. Pardon me. Unicorn block increases the detonation radius of dream pallets by half a meter. Uh, I believe the current range is 3.5 meters, so this makes it an even 4. Uh, and this is almost certainly like one of his strongest add-ons, just because it makes the dream pallets like that much more lethal. For all the same reasons as the like wool shirt does, and more. I would say it's like absolute highest like tier add-on this killer has. It just like it really does so much to make the dream pallets more deadly, especially because I don't know if it's a bug or if it's just how the add-on works, but the dream pallets tend to not like it when you have both wolf shirt and unicorn block because the range is just not accurate. There's like a little indicator of where the explosion radius is for survivors to use. Uh, and with these two add-ons like equipped at the same time, it just doesn't like it doesn't appear right at all. Survivors will think they're outside the range of the explosion and still get hit, but like a comfortable distance away and like a comfortable like a lot sooner than they think that they would. And that's really stupid, but you know, it's something to this killer's advantage, which I think, you know, most people will take. Um and that's just kind of the main thing with like these two add-ons is they don't really work that well, like mechanically or like, you know, on a technical level, which means that, you know, they're probably just the best because they make the killer so much more difficult for survivors to react to and play around. And, you know, maybe that's not really fair to take into account with the ranking, but I mean, you know, it's been almost a year of the killer being like this, and they still kind of suck, technically. Um, I don't know if they'll ever be fixed, but even then, if they were fixed, I still think these add-ons are like super good for just how much more lethal they make the dream pallets. Um, you don't necessarily have to run them together, but I think if you just really want deadly dream pallets, like this is the add-on combo that you should use, and you would still be doing a lot. Like you're not really missing anything else in this base kit. So yeah, unfortunately, Freddy Bros, this is the peak. It's probably not gonna get that much higher than this. And we're just gonna move on. Next add-on is jump rope. Uh, okay, it's worded really weirdly on the wiki, which you know, of course, it is. The wiki is not really great at, you know, making things readable. Uh, this add-on decreases the duration of the hindered effect from the dream snares by half a second. So that 12% hindered caused by the snares goes up from 4.5 seconds to 5. Uh, and this is pretty decent. Like, it's not really like a big effect on paper. Like, it's really a short hindered effect. Or a short like it's a really small increase. But you know that little extra hindered means that like more of your cooldown after you send a snare is going to be spent with a survivor moving slower, which isn't too bad. The only problem is vigil exists and is very common, so that means the add-on is basically like only making up for the fact that a perk is completely countering it, like the killer's power. I should clarify. Um, and I don't know. That's another thing where I don't really know if it's fair to take into account with the ranking, but it's just kind of the truth of the matter. I mean, Freddy's power is countered by one of the most popular perks in the game right now. So this add-on really isn't going to like help in that regard. And if you want more hindered, then I think you should look to the next add-on we're going to cover, which is Blue Dress. And this is an add-on that I believed in when Freddy was first like getting reworked on the PTB. A lot of people scoffed at this add-on, but I believed in it, and I really want to like I kind of want to pat myself on the back retrospectively for that because I was absolutely right. Um, this add-on makes it so your dream snare is no longer projectile, and instead they are just a placeable trap that lasts for 8 seconds. Uh, and you know, of course, you're only gonna have the one snare compared to before Land Freddy, which had five of these things. But the main difference is, these are lightning fast. They are lightning fast. When you wind up the snare again, it's a 0.35 second wind up. You know, it's not really going to be limiting you at all. But another thing is with the new snares compared to the old, they're frame one. Like the second they touch the ground, they affect survivors, and you know, being just like before, they also can affect a survivor multiple times as they step over it or keep standing on top of it continuously. Which means that you know they'll get hindered over and over. Their sleep meter will build up multiple times, uh, and just you know you can keep resetting that hindered and mind gaming back and forth, like kind of how you would while playing clown. Um, and this add-on is insanely strong. It makes the snares, you know, not as like mechanically demanding, so you know easier to pick up, easier to play with, easier to perform well with. Good in different scenarios where the projectile snare isn't, and they just do so much. Like the sleep immunity add-on, as good as it is, um, you know, it pairs best with this add-on. I think it's like worse than the add-on just like a little bit, but like these two go so well together because that sleep immunity is the only thing preventing like survivors from just being asleep in chase like forever with this add-on because it's really easy to not only put a survivor to sleep with a snare, you can put a survivor to sleep basically instantly with it, and then they can still get hindered by the same snare. Uh, you know, and that snare is going to last your entire cooldown. So by the time your snare is back up and ready to use again, you know the old snare is still like on the ground for a short period. So you can basically always have a snare up, which is really strong. Uh, and honestly, I really like the playstyle, but I know it's not for everyone. Uh, but yeah, this add-on is absurd. I think it is aged gracefully in a lot of people's eyes by now. At least I would hope because it is really strong. Um, yeah, I don't know. You can pick between any of these four add-ons and you're probably gonna have a good game as Freddy. It's basically the point. Um, okay. So yeah, that was definitely the peak. I think those were like all of his good add-ons. The rest, I don't really feel too strongly about, and I don't have faith that they're gonna really wow anyone or be that useful. Um, next blue add-on, Nancy's Masterpiece. This reduces the cooldown of Dream Protection by 10% whenever a survivor is affected by a snare or a pallet or your teleport. You know, one of your abilities basically. Um, and this is basically just completely power creeps the other add-on that does the same thing but only once. Uh, what is it? The cat block? Yeah, it basically just completely like power creeps the cat block because as long as you teleport or use your snare, or even blue dress especially, you're basically just gonna have dream protection up like for significant chunks of the game. But that said, is that great? Not really. I mean, it's probably like higher than the cat block, just you know by default. Probably better than a lot of these like add-ons down here. Let's be honest. Um, but overall, I don't really see that reason of that much of a reason to use it compared to something else. Which killer so far has had the worst add-ons? Ironically, probably Nurse and like Hag. Weirdly enough, and like I think Doctor also has like a string of really bad add-ons down here. Like I think D, F, and Super F are like mostly comprised of Nurse, Hag, and Trapper add-ons. I think Myers actually has a ton down here too, right? Yeah, Mirror. Yeah. Oh my God. Actually, yeah. I think Myers has the worst add-ons. He basically filled up Super F with all his terrible add-ons that just make his power like even worse than it already is. Um, and Hag kind of coincidentally because like these add-ons just don't work, and this one is like shouldn't exist. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard, but I think overall like Hag and Shape are like tied for like worst add-ons by a significant portion. Um, okay, how the add-ons ranked? It's kind of just a measure of like how much I want to use it on the killer, like, and how much I want to play the killer it's attached to, and how much I would want to use this add-on on said killer. Uh, so it's basically like a double strength tier list. It's like a tier list of strength on like the killers, so like the highest tier killers are higher, and then like on the specific character it's attached to, like how strong is my urge to use it. So race add-ons are going to be more mid because he's a more mid killer. Same for Freddy, he's more around the mid tier. And like all the add-ons that are really low are on killers that are like already so bad, and then these add-ons just make them like worse just for using. You kind of get what I mean. Like as much as I would want to play Wraith, I don't want to play Wraith with like the clappers, or like the one that gives him a terror radius, or like stuff like that. It's like basically like you know comparatively trying to like measure all of the add-ons per killer next to each other, which I don't really know if anyone's done before, but so I'm kind of just doing it just to like see if it's even possible. Okay, last of Freddy's blue add-ons before I forget again. Uh, Paint thinner. This add-on makes it so whenever a survivor drops a dream palette, they are revealed by killer instinct, and when a survivor is affected by that killer instinct, they can be teleported to with a dream projection. And when you teleport this way, it's twice as fast, so it's meant to be more like chase oriented. Uh, I mean, it's a pretty cool effect. If you want to like counter people just like kind of dropping your dream snare or dream palettes outside of chase. But there's not really that many situations where I'd want to teleport to that person, so this add-on doesn't really seem that like appealing. Like you got to think like if you're in chase with a survivor and someone across the map is dropping a dream palette to get rid of it, it's like why should you care? You're already in chase. Just place another one. Uh, you don't really want to like drop chase to go teleport to them unless I don't know. Maybe the survivor is really good against Freddy in particular and has vigil and has like a god setup, so it's better to teleport across the map. But if in that case you have dream protection, you can just teleport wherever you want. You don't necessarily have to teleport directly on a survivor in this situation where they drop a dream palette at the exact moment that you want to teleport and drop chase. If you're not in chase and someone drops a palette like that, cool. I mean, this add-on then serves its purpose. Um, but like, and in the situation where you're in chase with that survivor and they drop the pallet, the dream projection teleport is probably going to be worse for you than just continuing chase while walking, for so many reasons. Like for one, it's going to put your teleport on cooldown in case you want to use it again later. For two, the teleport is probably going to put you further from the survivor than you want to be, or you might already be. And like notably, like even if you try like charging the teleport is going to slow you down, which wasn't a thing when this add-on was designed, but it is now. So boohoo, the add-on kind of sucks now. um yeah, I mean it's not like the worst, but it's really not making a great case for why anyone should use it. So probably like super low, like D tier. Like I don't know, like I would use it, but I just really don't see that many reasons why I would want to use it. And we're getting close to the end here of Freddy's add-ons, thankfully. Next up is Swing Chains, which historically was really good on this killer, but now is like a complete joke. This add-on blocks all windows within 16 meters of your location for 6 entire seconds after using the dream projection. And if I thought paint thinner was already niche, this one is like it's just a mystery why anyone would want to like equip this because dream projection not usually going to be used that frequently, and especially not like in chase. Uh, and it's not always going to have a window nearby to block with this effect, so already it just is confused because the range is so low that it basically like you have to teleport directly next to a window for it to block and actually do anything. But the timer is also so low that like you know unless the survivor's right next to that window and planning to use it, it's not really it's going to unblock by the time they get to it. But the big problem with this add-on is that the block only happens after the dream projection is finished. So while you're teleporting to a survivor, they can still vault the window before it even blocks. And then especially like at by that point, this add-on has run out of like reasons to be used. Like it doesn't block the window for long enough to warrant like to ever really inconvenience anyone. It doesn't block the windows in a big enough range to be like creating any sort of like boxing in scenarios. And it literally doesn't block the windows at the right time to be useful. So it genuinely is just terrible. It's not quite super F. I mean, maybe it could work sometimes, but it's awful. The add-on almost never works. Like even if it activates and like technically blocks a window, the window being blocked is not going to inconvenience anyone. There's very few situations where it's going to. Um, Next up is probably like a pretty decent add-on, class photo. This one makes it so you can teleport to exit gates with dream projection, and survivors opening exit gates are revealed with Killer Instinct just passively, even if Dream Projection is off cooldown, which are both really nice effects. The end game one, like revealing survivors with Killer Instinct, it's kind of whatever. I mean, it's cool to know like where the survivors are opening the gates, like for sure. But just being able to passively teleport to exit gates, like at every point in the game, means you just have more mobility, like and more options. Especially in like generator dead zones, which is cool. Um, but not the strongest. I would say probably like around C-ish. Just more mobility is good. Info on survivors opening gates is also good. Both not amazing. I'm not super wowed. Mm-hmm. You know, whatever. It's one of the most whatever tier add-ons I've ever seen. Uh, Pill bottle. I've heard good things about this add-on, but overall, I'm still not really convinced. This add-on makes it so every time a survivor gets put to sleep and they wake up, that survivor will fall asleep 10% faster, up to a maximum of 50%. Uh, which is kind of confusing. It just basically means like the longer the game's gone on, the faster people are gonna wake up eventually. But I don't know. Like I would rather just run like the one to prevent the sleep immunity. Notably this add-on is not affecting the sleep immunity from alarm clocks. It's only affecting like the regular sleep timer. And you know, once that timer is up, I don't really think it's that hard to put survivors to sleep. So I just don't think this add-on is that worth running. It's basically like I feel kind of the same way about it as I do about class photo, where it's like it's a cool option if I don't really have anything else, but they're higher rarity add-ons than the add-ons I generally want to use, so it means I'm gonna have these less. So I just don't really see a reason to use them. Uh, Final of the purple add-ons is Z Block. The auras of survivors affected by dream snares and pallets are revealed for 3 seconds. So when you drop a dream pallet, your aura is revealed for 3 seconds. I think also if you're like hit with the rupture ability, probably 3 seconds. And if you're hit by a dream snare, 3 second aura reveal. Um, this one confuses me. I don't really know why I would want to see the auras of survivors hit with a dream snare. I don't really see that many situations where that's useful because it's such a close range projectile to where I'd probably just already see that survivor. Um, so I don't know. I've heard really good things about Z Block, but it's just like I don't think aura rating is that great. Um, I it's just not, it's not making a strong case for itself, especially because it's not really a long duration either. Um, Technically it might be useful in some situations, but I don't really feel that strongly about it myself personally. Um, Final two add-ons, the viscerals. We have red paintbrush. This add-on makes it so when survivors are in the dream world, they have their aura revealed to you whenever they're further than 32 meters from you. But the downside is that micro sleep timers are increased by 50%. They take an extra 30 seconds to fall asleep passively. Uh, and the problem with this add-on, just like fundamentally, is survivors against New Freddy are not going to be in the dream world long enough for this add-on to really do anything significantly, especially because the aura reading doesn't linger at all. It's just within that 32-meter distance away from you, their aura is revealed, and if they wake up or they get within 32 meters, it's immediately off. Uh, and that's obviously bad. And the downside is horrible. It's just survivors have like way more time to just leisurely do gens. They're not giving you your dream protection cooldown faster. They're not revealing each other when they heal. Uh, it's basically just the trade offer meme. It's like I get like a bad aura reading effect, and you get like to counter my power essentially like a lot easier. This add-on is genuinely awful. This add-on is super F. Like if I've ever seen a super F add-on, I think it's really sad because it's a cool like idea, but it's just definitely not enough. It's just it's genuinely the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. It just really doesn't work in practice. With the frequency of alarm clocks, and other methods of waking each other up. And even then, it's not really like an add-on that stomps in like solo queue either. Like, oh, the info diff is gonna really help. It's like no, it's just it really doesn't. Especially considering you know, survivor auras are red and generator auras are also red, so it's really hard to even see survivors if they're just leisurely doing generators out in the distance. Remember people saying that add-on was gonna be insane and end up being awful? Yeah, pretty much. Like I don't like I get giving it a downside, but the downside is really not worth the upside. The upside is terrible, and the downside is just like terrible in the other way, like where it's actually like a significant downside. I don't know what they were thinking. Um, Last add-on is red paintbrush. Or no, that's the last add-on. That was the previous add-on I did. Uh, Black box is the last add-on. This one caused the exit gates to be blocked for sleeping survivors for 15 seconds after they're opened. Uh, and I believe like the add-on is weirded or is worded strangely. Um, and this actually makes it so whenever a survivor is put to sleep, the exit gate is also blocked for that like 15 seconds after they fall asleep. So if you have a survivor running the exit gate and they're teabagging you, and then they happen to fall asleep, I believe this blocks the gate for them and gives you just enough time to like down them and pick them up, but like not really much after that. Um, I I don't get it. I think maybe I'm the only person who doesn't see the vision with these types of add-ons, but this is becoming a really common trend where they give like an exit gate blocking add-on to killers now. And I think all of them are just god awful. I don't know why I would want to bank on failure like this. Like the in a situation where the gate is already open, it's just like yeah, it's blocked for 15 seconds. Like barely enough time to for me to intervene and do anything about it. I don't get it. I think these add-ons suck. I don't know if I want to do Super F. Like I kind of want to do Super F because like you're banking so far in ahead on this 40 chess play of like oh, I'm gonna like get to end game and block a gate and this noob is gonna be so mad. Like no, this is you're essentially banking on failure and hoping this add-on is like your break, and you have to really hope that it's gonna be strong enough to like stop the car. Uh, I don't know. I really hope this doesn't like keep up as a trend with add-on design because I think so far all of the exit gate affecting add-ons have just been total flops. It's at least a little better than Paintbrush. Yeah. Like I can give it that. Like it's not as like it's not hurting you through the rest of the game as bad as Paintbrush, but it's just not doing anything for you for like 99.5% of the game. Like the percentage of this like add-on like helping you in your DBD matches is the same percentage of bacteria that escape like the Lysol like antibacterial spray. Like it's just like I don't really understand the design philosophy here. Add-on should slow the gate, I think. Maybe like at least if it was like Survivors in the Dream World open gate slower, that would not only fit with his other like perk, remember me, but you know, it just doesn't do anything. So I would rather just run class photo at that point. Like at least that gives me some tracking, some teleporting. They nerfed skill merchant. What? What's that supposed to mean? Sorry, I'm pulling up the next killer and taking a sip of my drink so I don't die. Time for P. Yeah. I did make sure that DBD's audio was hidden on this overlay, right? Yeah, I did. Last time, I didn't realize this, but when I opened the game last time, you could actually hear like the sounds uh in the lobby for the brief period where I was switching characters. All right. Next up, we got Pi. Uh Gonna be a little harder to rank this killer because she like just got changed. And I don't really like I haven't gotten a feel for the killer since the changes. Because I don't think I've played her like before or after the changes in recent memory. But I think I got the rough idea. They let's see here. Increase crouch movement speed, increase dash movement speed, uh, reduce crouching time, reduce the fade out of the tear radius when crouching. Yeah, I mean that seems okay. But let's see how it affects the add-on ranking here. Which, spoiler alert, I don't really think it will, because none of those buffs really affect the things that like a pig player who wants to win cares about that much. Alrighty. Where's my add-ons? Okay, there we go. First up is Interlocking Razor. This add-on is actually part of a series of two add-ons, which are both bad, which makes it so when a survivor is injured, failing a skill check at a jigsaw box will put them into a deep wound. It'll give them the deep wound status effect, which means that they will basically have to stop doing the jigsaw box, or at least try and finish it quickly, uh, and then immediately mend right afterwards, which kind of gives some nice slowdown. I mean, they already get some slowdown from missing the skill check in the first place, but this add-on basically, you know, also slows them down afterwards because they'll have to mend the deep wound, and it'll turn off their endurance effects if they even had any to begin with, and just overall, it's a nice little quality of life effect. But problem is, to activate it, a survivor has to miss like one of the easiest skill checks in the game. Like the jigsaw box skill checks are basically free, um, which is an issue because this add-on's almost never going to activate. So honestly, I'm kind of tempted to put it in like super F just on account of like how little this effect is going to actually proc. Like I don't think it's bad like of an effect. It's just it's never going to happen. Like if it was more frequent it wouldn't be as bad, but it's genuinely so bad. Um and the same can basically be said for the razor wire, which essentially does the same thing, but actually is even worse. Like somehow, this add-on makes it so when a survivor is healthy while searching a jigsaw box, if they miss a skill check, they'll get injured. Um, and there's a bit of a problem with that effect just on the face of it. Survivors yeah, you have to put a survivor in the dying state to put a jigsaw like or a reverse bear trap on them. And having a reverse bear trap on your head is the only way to search jigsaw boxes and, therefore miss a jigsaw box skill check. So, more than likely, you're already going to be injured when you're searching them, like, in most situations. So, while this add-on is pretty threatening, it genuinely, like, never works. Like, unless the survivor resets for some reason while they have a jigsaw box or a reverse bear trap on their head, and then goes to search boxes. I don't know how this add-on is ever meant to proc. It's somehow worse than the other one, like the lower rarity one. Honestly, it's genuinely so bad. It only works against 4-hour Timmies, but then it's like I don't know if they'll know how pay works. Like in that situation, you don't need this add-on. Like you'd just be better off with something else. And then it's just like I still don't even think like 4-hour players would heal with a reverse bear trap on their head to get this add-on to activate. Like they have to heal and then miss a jigsaw box skill check. Like that's two situations that are just so uncommon that I don't understand what they were thinking. Not only making this add-on, but making it higher rarity than the other add-ons. Like I don't know. That's already such a like baffling design choice just on the face of it. So, yeah, super F for both of them. You're almost never going to see them actually work. Like if they do, like that's impressive. Um, Next one, probably less aggravating, is Shattered Syringe. Decreases the cooldown of missed ambush dash attacks by 10%. Um, this is one of the first in a series of like making an easy to use like dash power have a shorter like miss cooldown add-ons, which there's a surprising amount of, like despite how much of a mouthful that is. And I don't know, I don't really see a point with this add-on. Like the cooldown is not that much for missing a dash attack or an ambush attack. Apologies for you know misusing terminology. Um, I don't know why I would bank on missing to get value out of my add-on. So that's just F tier. I don't really think there's any discussion there. It's really bad. Um, okay. Next is uh combat straps. Historically, always like up there. It's pretty much always useful for as long as pigs existed. This increases your movement speed when crouching and uncrouching. by 10%. Really simple, really strong, really comfy. Especially with the new crouching speed buffs, making you like pretty much faster than Pig has ever been able to crouch. This add-on can genuinely be used like mind game like a lot now, and it makes their dash a lot more lethal because you're basically decreasing the wind up of it by a significant amount. So that's always nice. Pig is just genuinely really bad though, so I can't really see this add-on going like that high. Uh, but overall, probably like D tier. Now it's 5%. Is it? As far as I was aware, it wasn't compensation nerfed. Let me check just to verify. I'm pretty sure this add-on was not like compensation nerfed though. Pull this up. I'm gonna be so mad if I get rage baited by chat. John's medical file, last will, and workshop grease. Yeah, no. This add-on was not changed. It's still 10%. Alongside the buff, it became partly base kit. No, it became double like base kit, and the add-on wasn't changed. It was not compensation nerfed. I don't like it. Must be rage bait. Yeah, you might be confusing it with a different add-on. Combat straps was not changed. Uh, Combat straps is still 10% alongside the 0.8 second crouching speed buff. This might be the add-on you're thinking of. John's medical file is the last of our common add-ons. Let me check. Yeah, okay. John's medical file increases crouch movement speed by 5%. Uh, which I believe increases your total movement speed up to 4.2 meters a second. Yeah, it does. Okay, so you move up to 4.2. So with this add-on, you can now move faster than survivors while crouched. Um, which you could already do before, but now that you can move as fast as a survivor while crouched, I'm not really seeing a strong reason to use this add-on. Like, sure, I mean, I guess it's nice to lose less distance, but comparatively, I would rather just have other add-ons more than this. Especially like crouching speed, I think is probably way more significant. I think it's probably like high F. I mean, it's not as offensive as some of the other add-ons down here. It's just like it's really confusingly designed, and a little confused. I mean, better mobility is always going to be nice for most killers, but the amount of mobility you get from the add-on is not significant enough to warrant like a really high like ranking. Next up is face mask. Survivors caught in reverse bear traps have the blindness status effect for as long as they have it on. Which actually has some pretty devious synergies. Uh, if you have like, let's say, hex totems or something, you can hide their auras from survivors who have maps or perks to reveal them, which not very nice. You can hide generator auras, teammate auras, from a lot of things, but notably does not hide jigsaw box auras. That is not a thing this add-on does. It's not a thing this add-on will probably ever do. But problem is, outside of solo queue, this add-on basically doesn't do anything. Same goes for, this whole killer in general. But yeah, this add-on is kind of just offensive, like by its very design. It just feels like an assault on the players that Pig most disproportionately affects already. And against like teams that Pig is already like disproportionately like weak against, it doesn't do anything at all. It's pretty negligible. But I would still say probably like better than John's medical file. Uh, but maybe not by much. I would say probably like D. Like I think this add-on can do like a bit of damage, to counter like specific or rating perks. But like, if survivors don't have anything like that, I don't think this add-on does that much for them, or does that much necessarily to them. It just kind of sucks. That's about it. I guess maybe like the thing that this add-on is trying to like target is like maybe a survivor is like searching like to get their head trap off, and like if a survivor's on the hook, they might forget where they are or not notice, or see them, and maybe they'll walk past them without saving them and look like a real dickhead. But I don't know. It's still like pretty offensive. I don't like it. Next up, I have no clue what this is. This is utility blades, apparently. This causes survivors in reverse bear traps to suffer from hemorrhage until they're or whenever they're injured. Uh, I don't get it for so many reasons, but the main one is like hemorrhage is just a bad effect, like on principle. Hemorrhage is pretty terrible to have in an add-on by itself, but this is on survivors who have reverse bear traps on, right? So the only time you're gonna get value out of this add-on is if you manage to interrupt their healing. But like that requires the survivor to be healed while they have a reverse bear trap on their head, which is unlikely unless the trap is already not active. And you know, to get the full value out of this add-on, that requires you to probably like chase them, right? Or like somehow manage to get the trap to activate while they're being healed and force them to stop, or something like that. You have to create like very specific scenarios where this add-on's going to do anything, and they're not common enough. I just don't think this add-on's design works that well. So I'm gonna say Super F. It's probably just about as uncommon to activate as the interlocking razor. Oh my god, ad break coming up already. Wow, really? Well, we'll try and get through these like last greens a little quickly. Um, okay. I believe this add-on is called Last Will. This increases your movement speed during a dash by, okay, let me double check, 5%, and increases the time to charge the ambush by 10%. And this is really significant, actually. After the buffs, this add-on basically doesn't have a downside. It has such a negligible one that you're basically not going to tell the difference between this and like default. Um, and the upside is actually pretty significant now. I think they tried to nerf it on PTB, but that didn't go over too well. So now it's basically just a straight buff. You can actually get some pretty super speed like dashes going with this add-on now, which is not insignificant because the dashes being better means you have more chances to get downs, and more chances to get downs means more chances to apply your reverse bear traps and get like really easy kills. Would you want me to snooze the ad? No, we'll just try and get through these greens, and then figure it out from there. But it's probably one of the first add-ons of hers that's going to breach like D tier hell. Like I think this is actually like a pretty low like C tier add-on now. Maybe higher to be honest, but hard to say. But yeah, this add-on seems like it's going to be really good, and it's probably going to age pretty well if Pig gets any more buffs. But it might age a lot worse. It actually might age like comparatively even better if like the reverse bear traps ever go down in strength, which would be enough to warrant like buffing her dash even more. Uh, but yeah, pretty comfortably good add-on for now. Actually, yeah, I'd probably say it's probably better than like any of Trapper's add-ons. Let's be honest. So I'm gonna move it up to around like yellowed cloth area. Maybe we'll move some of these Trapper add-ons down and stuff. I'm not too sure, but we'll definitely have to reorganize some of these tiers later. Um, okay. Last of the greens is Workshop Grease. This reduces the cooldown of wait, okay, I think this was actually changed in the patch notes. Let me double check. Okay, yeah. No longer decreases missed ambush stat cooldown. Why am I getting rage baited by the DBD wiki? Who knows? Okay, so all this does is increases the charge speed of the ambush attack by 50%. That's all it does. It's the one really good upside. And I think this might be like just about as good as like combat straps. I mean, similar logic between both of them, but like this one has like a really strong effect uh for the ambush, whereas this has a comparatively less so like time save for crouching, which you'll be doing more frequently and for different reasons than ambush attacks. So I say both have just about equal merit and would equally warrant an add-on slot being used. But I could see an argument for like one or two of these, like one or the other being like better or worse, like definitively. But I'm not too sure. That would probably be something I'd need more experience on, which maybe after stream, uh, or a little later if I don't feel like talking as much, I might try out some of these. That might be an idea. Um, because there's kind of a problem killer coming up that is going to be, hard to rank for probably a lot of reasons. Okay, but we got an ad coming up, so before we get into Pig's Blue add-ons, I'm gonna just let that shit go, and I'm gonna take that time while the ad is playing to drink some of this water, maybe discuss things a bit. But for the rest of you, chat, we'll be right back. So how we feeling so far, chat? How we doing? Got 200k BP. Hell yeah. 3 minute ad. What do you mean? That's how long they always are. They that long? Yeah. The ad breaks play every hour. I figure it's best to just play the longest ad, uh, so that we don't have to like wait like huge amounts of time. We don't have to like stop the tier list so often to keep getting ads. Am I doing? I don't know. Been a bit of a weird like week. Uh, got ill from the last time I did this tier list. Uh, got dragged across town. Got really like bad allergies and bad sleep in a hotel. Uh, went swimming with some sharks. Got sexually harassed yesterday on my way to the gas station to get a soda. I don't know. I'm just feeling odd. It feels a bit weird to just be streaming right now. Is kind of the main thing. Like I don't know. Streaming is a bit scary for me right now. I've been working on a lot of like YouTube stuff, but streaming is still something like I really want to do. It's just something that's really like complicated and I don't know. I'm trying something different, and I'm liking it, making the most of it. But I have a tough decision here to make. Speaking of the stream, is clown. I'm really not sure how I'm going to rank clown like yet because he is almost certainly going to get nerfed and probably soon. I don't know how he's going to get nerfed, but I'm quite certain they're not going to keep him in the state he is for long. So I don't want to jump the gun and actually get into ranking his add-ons until I know for sure he's going to be in a spot where he's not going to get any more changes for a while. And I'm not sure, when exactly that's going to be. So I have two paths ahead of me. I could either like comfortably end like the stream like, after it's really short on Pig, or I can you know, continue trying to get through the ranking, but just skip clown for a while. Um, and I might be okay with both options like equally, but I don't know. Both are kind of just odd. Take another big sip of water before I get back into it, though. So yeah, uh, we're back. Hope everyone enjoyed your 7 consecutive Taco Bell 5, 7, and $6 cravings box advertisements. But we're gonna get back into it. Next add-on is Rusty Attachments. This add-on causes survivors who receive a reverse bear trap to receive the mangled status effect for 70 seconds. And I've never been more personally offended by behavior's lack of consistency with add-on design as I have with this one. Uh, I literally don't understand why you would want to apply mangled status effect to people who have reverse bear traps on, because that's already so like you know again, survivors don't want to heal when they have these things on, especially if they're active. It's just not really worth it. And slowing that healing down, you know when they already don't want to do it, it just doesn't make sense. But then you also can just completely avoid this because it's on a 70-second timer after you get put into the dying state, and then presumably get carried to a hook and then sit on the hook. And there's it's just so many things that just prevent this add-on from doing anything in a game. Like, the status effect might show up on the survivor screen, which is more than I can say for like interlocking razor and razor wire. But man, like, this add-on is just not going to actually do anything. So I just got to put it in Super F, man. Like, there's just no like other place for this add-on to go. It's just terrible. It's never going to actually like sway a game in any meaningful way, you know? And kind of in a similar vein, but a little more like positive, is slow release toxin. This makes it so survivors caught in reverse bear trap suffer from the exhausted status effect so long as the trap remains attached. And this add-on actually is pretty good. Um, Not in a way that's particularly healthy for like the game, but like, man, this add-on can do some serious damage. And it's probably the only thing like realistically like keeping Pig out of like super F tier. Um, I don't know how many people run this add-on, but like with how prevalent exhaustions are right now, and how like tunneling is kind of the only like strong thing Killer has right now. This add-on can seriously do like a ton of damage to survivors because it takes away some of their strongest perks, and it's like, not only does it take away some of their strongest perks, it takes away their strongest perks while they're also on a death timer. Like, that's pretty significant. Like, that survivors, like, their teammates can body block as much as they want, for them, but like that survivor still is going to have to try and make some time to get the jigsaw, like the reverse bear trap off, and it's not going to do that if you just chase them. And it's going to be harder for them to like get away from you when they don't have exhaustion perks. You know what I mean? uh so this add-on is pretty significant, and I would say probably like one of her best, especially because it's not countered by vigil unlike many other things, because it's a permanent effect, like as long as the bear trap is on. um I don't know if I put anything higher than this. Oh yeah, I put last fire on this. I'm probably gonna put this higher than that, to be honest with you. That like, it's really significant, for a lot of things, and really stupid. uh I don't know. Like, I think this is really unhealthy of a design, but man, it works. I'll tell you that much. Like, I really don't know how this add-on just kind of just slipped through the cracks for so long. Because I would say it's actually really stupidly strong for a dumb reason. Okay. Next one though is rule set number 2. This makes it so survivors who have a bear trap on that isn't active, not ticking down, no generators completed since being attached, cannot see jigsaw box auras until it becomes active. So that basically means like trying to preemptively remove your bear trap is going to be much more difficult, presumably, because you're going to have to only find the jigsaw boxes by sight. You can't find them, by just looking around for the auras. And even if you find one by sight, you might actually have already searched it. So you'll have to like check manually, or just remember, which ones you've already searched, which might be a little inconvenient. But overall, I wouldn't say it's like the greatest effect in the world. I would say it's probably like on the weaker side of effects. In a similar vein to like the mask, it kind of disproportionately affects solo queue, but in a way I would say that's probably better than the face mask. Because in Swift you can just call out where boxes are if this add-on is you know hurting. Like someone can just say like boxes in like main, boxes in shack, boxes 12, boxes 3, stuff like that. Not that hard to really like deal with. Or specific structures they might want it more specifically, stuff like water tower, logs, stuff like that. So really obvious. You can learn the spawns, they're not that hard, or just pay attention. There's a lot of things you can do to get around this effect, but I wouldn't say it's like the worst. Probably better than like, no, I wouldn't say it's better than paint thinner, but I would probably say it's better than tried cicada. So I'm pretty comfortable with that ranking actually. Um, okay, these two are basically the same add-ons, so we'll just rank them together. This is the Gear Brothers, Bag of Gears and Crate of Gears. Uh, both increase the attachment speed of reverse bear traps by 50%. They're literally the same effect. Um, but Bag of Gears increases the time it takes to search jigsaw boxes by 14%, and Crate of Gears increases it by 25%. Um, these two add-ons are really, really stupid strong. In a way that I don't really like. Not only do they make the incredibly slow and labored animation of applying a reverse bear trap faster, which is pretty significant. If you have people body blocking and they actually give you a down, you can put a trap on them, and whoever you're like actually intending on chasing, like won't get as much distance. So that's already nice for both of these add-ons. That's a really big plus. But then it also creates a lot of degenerate like synergies with you know, stuff that, let's say, makes survivors scream while they're searching jigsaw boxes, or in general like reveals their aura so that you can push them off it, stuff like that. There's a lot of really nasty synergies that you can do with these two add-ons, especially combined. Uh, I don't know. I would say they're probably about as strong as the other add-on I put up top, the toxin, but probably better, just because those synergies exist. They're both just about as good as one another. Maybe the bag of gears is like slightly lower, but I don't know. Overall, they're not the most inspired add-ons. They just kind of are action speed penalties, but they're good action speed penalties at least. So that's something you can always rely on. I actually don't know what this add-on does. I think I have an idea. This is Jigsaw's annotated plan. Um, this makes it so you have an extra bear trap. You have 5 instead of 4. Uh, and whenever a generator is completed, all reverse bear traps that are active uh, have a have 10 seconds removed from the timer. But notably, it comes with an extra 10 seconds by default for the timers. So I'm not sure if that 10 seconds means that the first activation takes 10 seconds longer than like base kit, or if it's like the first gen pop to activate a head trap it's just the same as base kit, and then only like subsequent gen pops reduce the timer. I'm really not too sure what the logic there is. Uh, but either way, I don't know. It's nice to have an extra bear trap, but the extra timer effect might as well just be completely scratched off the add-on. It doesn't do anything. Uh, I don't know. It doesn't really. I don't really see this add-on used that often, and I never really want to use it. It's not really an enthusing effect. So probably like low C tier seems reasonable for this one. Having an extra bear trap is sure might be nice, but I don't really think you need any more than like four. The only thing that's like, you know, the only thing to keep in mind is like having less than four is obviously bad, but I don't really think having more than four is ever going to be necessary unless like, you tunnel someone out and like you actually want to like play the 3v1 with more bear traps, so like less people basically playing the game. Uh but I don't know. That doesn't seem like a situation worth banking on because I think Pig is already kind of hard pressed to get kills, especially early. Um, final. Okay, moving into the like proper purples now. The not duplicates, I should say. It's kind of weird that like Pig has like mostly all unique add-ons, but then like Bag of Gears, and Crate of Gears are basically the same add-on. That just is kind of odd to me now that I think about it. I never really thought about the fact that she basically doesn't have any duplicates besides those two. Um, this is Amanda's secret, which causes it so survivors who remove a reverse bear trap trigger a loud noise notification and reveal their ore to you for 6 seconds. And I thought this add-on was like insane when I first found it in my blood web. I was like, oh my god, you get a notification on survivors removing their head trap, so like you can just go right over to them and like interrupt them. But the key word there is removing their reverse bear trap. Uh, as in this add-on only triggers after they've already gotten the correct key and taken it off. I thought this meant that survivors in the process of like searching jigsaw boxes were revealed, but no. This add-on is genuinely just bad because it only makes up for the situation where a survivor has removed the trap completely and is no longer affected by it. And, maybe that's good. It's still pretty nice. It's like nice quality of life to like know where they are and be able to go after them, especially because, you had to down them in the first place to put the trap on, so they probably have a hook stage and are probably, likely to be like closer to dead than the average player. Yeah, it's like an add-on for tunneling. So like that's still like really mean, but that survivor you're going to be tunneling isn't going to have a head trap on. Like I would rather just play by the hook with the survivor I'd rather just play by the hook and then, tunnel the survivor off the hook instead of like this kind of like letting them go and remove their bear trap and then like I go after them afterwards. That seems so like counterproductive to me if I want to tunnel. Like I want to say like it's still really bad, but like not like that bad. Like it's just counterproductive because like I think the head traps in general are like made for tunneling. They're like expressly made for tunneling. And this add-on seems like it would be like up that same alley where like even if you let a survivor go, you can still tunnel them. But like I don't know why I would want to do that. More slowdown, I guess, but I don't know. That just seems really pointless. Um, Next is Jigsaw Sketch, which, similar to the last add-on, gives you an extra bear trap, but does not give you like some weird secondary effect. This one gives you just a straight good one. Well, good in quotes. I think it's kind of equally as pointless, but I would say it has more practicality than the other one by a long shot. This one makes it so survivors who are repairing a generator with a reverse bear trap on have they highlight the gen in yellow instead of the default red. So basically, you're only going to be running this add-on for the extra bear trap. Uh, I, I I'm pretty sure the other add-on doesn't necessarily make you worse than base kit, but like this add-on, I'm absolutely certain doesn't make you worse than base kit. Like it doesn't make the traps worse than the base kit traps. So I think this add-on is probably by default better, but it's just like the secondary effect is just completely counterproductive because I don't really want like survivors with bear traps on don't want to do gens usually. They're more than likely going to want to remove the bear trap. So I mean they're basically the same add-on. Their side effects are just as pointless as each other, and you're about as unlikely to get value out of them. But you know, extra bear trap's nice, so you got to take what you can get, I guess. Uh, Tampered Timer is next add-on. This add-on decreases the timer, of the reverse bear traps by 20%, or not 20%, 20 seconds. Uh, this is about the most cut and dry add-on in the game. It's a tampered timer, so it has less time on it. Makes sense. Um, and surprisingly, I don't really think this is like anywhere near her best add-on. I mean, it might be. It might literally be like one of her best, but like I still think like just the like I don't really necessarily think the head traps are like the greatest thing in the world for like getting people's heads to pop like quickly. Like, you know, the main thing that is good about the bear traps is they like guarantee that that survivor is not going to be able to get on gens as long as the trap is on their head, and their teammates aren't going to want to pop gens until like that survivor is safe. Um so coordinated swift might like if a survivor's like really hard getting tunneled, might not activate the trap on purpose to make sure that they can at least get one search in. Works only with screen build. Yeah, pretty much. The only way you're gonna get value out of this is if you're not like just chasing a survivor with a bear trap and just kind of letting them waltz around and search the jigsaw boxes. And in that case, if you want to get value from this add-on, you have to force them off them. So you kind of want to just run like scream perks or just like or reading perks to find them and push them off manually, which isn't great. Um, which means like if you're letting them do that, you have to run it with gears, and I kind of just think gears is better for that. And I just think in general, the slow release toxin is probably better than this for like that kind of like hard tunneling and getting people killed like playstyle. I don't know. I just think straight chasing the person with the bear trap on their head is probably going to be better than letting them go around searching stuff. Um, I think slow release toxin is probably better than that, to be honest. Uh, I don't know. It has merit. It's definitely popular for a reason. It's definitely a good effect, but I don't think I can be convinced it's her best. It's a bit weird. Okay, final two add-ons, visceral rarity. We're gonna go with Amanda's letter first. This one reveals the auras of survivors within 16 meters whenever you're crouched, and this decreases the amount of reverse bear traps you can carry by two. I literally have no idea how to feel about this add-on. I think it sounds like trash on paper because it's basically just like Mirror Myers, like Vanity Mirror Myers, in a sense. But you're on like a kind of bad killer to begin with, and it gives you a pretty harsh downside of having your, you know, powers resources. But like I think it might be a good add-on at the same time. Like I don't necessarily think the aura rating is good for like chasing and, hitting like sick ambush clips, but um it's still like pretty nice for what it is, just in general. Like just walking around the map and getting like aura rating. That's the part I think about the add-on that's pretty nice, especially if you're trying to like sneak around and like tunnel people out. Uh, like tunnel like if you're trying to find your tunnel out, if they get away from you, I think this add-on does a lot in that aspect, but it's also giving them a ton of distance because you're crouched, which isn't that great. So I'm like 80% convinced. No, I'm more like 70% convinced that this is actually a good add-on. But I think it comes with such a harsh downside that it's kind of hard for me to justify ever really wanting to use it. But I think it can do a lot. It's just I don't think it can do as much as like Wraith with like his better add-ons. That's what I'm like little like I'm struggling to be convinced on. Um, and I think we're gonna make this the final add-on for this stream. At least for this portion of the add-on tier list, at least. Uh, we have videotape, which makes it so all survivors spawn in the trial with your reverse bear traps attached to them. So there's going to be one for each player, and after that point, you're not going to have any bear traps. Um, I am. I feel similarly to with this add-on as I do. I feel similarly about this add-on to the way I do about Amanda's letter. I'm pretty sure this is a good add-on, just because like spawning in and having everyone start off with like this really dangerous like bear trap that is guaranteed like slowdown that people aren't going to want to do gens with as long as they have attached. It's got to be pretty good at least, especially because you know as long as you get your first chase target, especially if you pair this with like slow release toxin, you can get easier chases at the start of the game, and that you put that person on the hook while the other people are searching jigsaw boxes instead of coming in for body blocks or doing gens. That okay, I'm convincing myself this is really good add-on. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm convinced this is actually a good add-on. Like it basically guarantees like the way you would play pig normally, which is down someone, put the bear trap on them, hard tunnel them out, like proxy their hook and just hard tunnel them out and make sure they can never get it off. I think this kind of guarantees that, but like earlier and like much more like strongly because everyone else is gonna have to search their jigsaw boxes instead of doing gens, so the game is gonna take longer to get like going for the serves. Um, they can't really be coming in for body blocks either because the same reason they have to get the head traps off. If you pair this with slow release toxin, none of them survivors are gonna have like exhaustion. So whoever you find first, you're gonna down them, put them on the hook. They're gonna have the bear trap on when they get off the hook, and they're probably just dead. um, yeah, I'm actually convincing myself this is probably like her best add-on. With slow release toxin being her second best. I'd say maybe this breach is like low B. We'll see. Um, but yeah, this definitely seems like it's probably like her best add-on. Like absolutely fitting of the rarity. Now that I'm thinking about it, I was just thinking like maybe it's not that great because you don't really have anything else like after that aside from your dash. But I don't know. I think the dash is starting to become serviceable enough to where videotape can really like shine as her best add-on. Um, so yeah, I feel pretty comfortable now that I talked myself into that. Yeah, I think B tier is probably right. Still not a great add-on, but I mean, or not a great add-on for like the killer strength that you're playing, but eh, still pretty comfortably where it is, I think. Um, yeah, I came to a point where, despite we only did 3 killers today, but I don't really think I can comfortably do clown, which is the hard thing I have to like admit. Because as I said during last ad break, he is almost certainly getting nerfed. I don't think there's a world where he stays the way he is right now for long, and I want to see like what exactly happens to him before I go into like ranking his add-ons because like I could easily say like garish makeup kit, like S tier, uh cheap gin bottle S tier, all the other add-ons like poo poo shit fart tier. But that could change within like this week or next week. So if he changes tomorrow, maybe we'll like go through some of these. But more than likely, he's going to end up getting changed like next week or on like the next PTB that comes out. Um, and that's really tricky because like I want to do more of this tier list before then. But yeah, I don't think I can comfortably do clown yet. I think I have to just skip him. Um, so for today, I'm just gonna call it. Uh, we only did three, but that still took us 2 hours, and that's 2 hours of me speaking. And to be completely honest with you, my throat is starting to burn. um, I'm gonna try and do like more like practice for talking more like long periods of time like this. But yeah, I don't want to harm myself. As much as fun as it is to do this tier list, it's really dangerous. Uh, for my health. So we'll probably just wind down the rest of the this week with like more regular like old gameplay streams, maybe to fill out the rest of the week. But and then we'll do like we'll come back to the tier list next week on Monday, see if the clown changes are in. Uh, but I don't really think it's a good idea to do clown right now, not yet. And I just want to take it easy for the rest of the day. Hi, Valus. 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 Valise. Hi, Valus. Hi, Valus. Congrats on being first. Yeah. The tier list is already looking quite large, and I'm starting to question whether I'm going to need more tiers. But I don't know. Maybe a change in mindset would help. But I think it'll make a lot more sense once we start getting down to like the more modern killers. Cause like, unfortunately, a lot of the early killers are just super low tier. Like it's gonna take a while before we get into any more like high tier territory. But once we get there, I think we'll start to see the tier list fill out and become a lot more even. Uh but yeah, for now we're gonna call that for today's stream. Thanks everyone for showing up. I hope this is really entertaining for y'all the way it is for me, honestly. Um Also, I want to try and experiment eventually once we're through this tier list. Or maybe even like mixing it up while doing the tier list like as well. Just doing more streams where I kind of just sit and talk like this about a topic and we just kind of like have an open discussion where, of course it's going to be mostly me talking about my opinions, but like, we get a chance to maybe get more perspectives thrown on things. I was thinking maybe I would pick a killer to just talk about for a while I play Nubby's Number Factor or something. Um, yeah, for now, I'm gonna send you guys over. Uh, and we're gonna head off for the night. I'm probably gonna be hanging out in my server after this if anyone wants to hang out. But I'm gonna hop off stream for the day. Uh, I don't know how long he's gonna be live, but let's raid into Bran. If you don't know Bran, ex super cracked trickster player and modern day super cracked houndmaster player. Uh, so if you're down for that, stick around for the raid. Uh, and if you want to follow us in there, subs can use this raid message. And if you're a follower who wants to follow us in there, you can use that message. Yeah. Thanks for coming out to stream today, everyone. Hope you're all well. But I'll see you all later. Bye bye.